How goes it all? Welcome back to Patterson L Properties. Hopefully you guys having a great and exceptional day. All right, so New York City is the second most expensive major city in the United States of America outside of San Francisco, California. So the fact that in today's subject matter, I'm talking about a man who pays $1,800 a month to live in a New York City says it all, because that's a good price for New York City. The article stated that Samson Dali's ex-girlfriend thought the old laundromat that he was considering to be a potential new apartment was disgusting. He saw the potential for a great live workspace. He moved in a month later. He stated that, "I don't think a space needs to be perfect, be a perfect representation of what we hope a simple mind looks like." And to any successful new brick and mortar place or brick and mortar business, especially in today's world, one has to sacrifice darn near every single cent that they have into it. But you do, especially in the Airbnb, spaces, you do see a lot of these places that look like they're off and they look like they shouldn't actually be an apartment, but they are. I remember I stayed in this nice efficiency apartment in Inglewood, California, but it was really like a series of different apartments. Plus, it was behind a storefront, an abandoned storefront that I see they were doing work on. So it was interesting, but you could tell that the actual apartments were renovated. But from the outside, the place looked dusty, but from the inside, the place looked very, very nice. So the fact that somebody actually, somebody owns a place that used to be a laundromat, and now that they've turned it basically into an apartment, but they've kept the look of a laundromat, is actually kind of cool. It's something outside of the box, and a lot of young people in today's world like to do things differently, and heck, if you can live in a place like this and be in New York City, everything in New York City is a freaking walk away. So to me, it's like a win-win situation in my personal opinion. But everybody's, the way that certain people want to live, it's all different at the end of the day. All right, so that's why I wanted to talk about this article today. But anyways, this includes living in your business, which can save one lots upon lots of money. I always say if one doesn't have to worry about paying rent or mortgage, that they could save a lot of money at the end of the month and especially the year. So, because for instance, say if this gentleman owned this property and it was an actual actual laundromat, and there was a space for him to live there, then he would only have to worry about paying the lease on the property, and he could make money while living in the property and go from there, because for the most part, laundromats are turnkey businesses. You just have to have the right support in regards to maintenance people when things don't work. As far as when machines break down or things of that nature, you want to you yourself, or you hire somebody to restock products, or you even get a private vendor contractor to restock the laundry detergent products and things of that nature. So and the only reason why I know this is I haven't done it myself, but I do have a friend that lives in Pennsylvania, and him and his wife own a laundromat. They own 2 laundromats now, and it's basically a turnkey business. And at first they were doing all the work, but then ever since they become very, very profitable, because they have the laundromats in towns where most houses don't even have laundry machines, they're able to hire people, outside vendors and contractors, for a variety of services. So just something to take into consideration. But anyways, I digress. The article also stated that the 27-year-old production designer is no stranger to living in the commercial spaces. He used to live in a warehouse in Chicago, so he knew going into an apartment hunt that he wanted to repeat that experience. He stated, and I quote, "I like the freedom of a commercial space, even though there is definitely fewer tenants' rights," he said. But he likes to get the experience of living someplace where most people do not. Something feels more ethical about moving into a vacant storefront that's been empty for years than taking up an apartment in some residential neighborhood that you're not familiar with. Mr. Dali found the place, which is located in Queens, New York, back in 2019, right before the pandemic, and paying $1,700 a month. And in 2021, it went up to $1,800 a month. Dali is a production design, and one of the perks of the job is to access a lot of free furniture after the projects are done. Very nice. I did not know that. And so he used that to decorate the space. He stated that this space enables some of his hoarding tendencies, but He tries to be decorative with it as much as possible. While most of the stuff is technically trash and a lot of it was free, he says, I try to curate it into the way that it is most comfy for him. And the great thing about being able to live in a former storefront place, he has access directly to the street, which in New York City is a wonderful thing because there are still old, tall skyscraper buildings that do not have elevators. I remember talking to a friend of mine who's has his own moving business, and he was talking about the worst place that he's ever had to move furniture was in New York City, because they had to literally go from up to 15 to 18 floors with furniture with no elevators to think about. All right. The article also said that for Dali, his favorite part of living in the former Lawrence community is from the neighbors because it reminds him of his childhood. 27-year-old grew up in a commune in Texas that he described as not a cult, but a nonprofit humanitarian organization that did disaster relief and homeless outreach. And a lot of times people, love to have that sense of community when they live in this place, because all throughout the United States of America, unfortunately, that's becoming a dying thing unless there's a horrific event that happens. I think that really molded this kind of open door policy that I've had and maintained in my adult life. That's how my mom always lived, he says, and one of the saddest things is that is constantly escaping cities all around the United States of America, people looking out for one another and having the sense of community and looking out for each other. Because of that philosophy that Dali has made it so that his living space is open to others. He even has a fridge and communal swing out front. That community feeling has proved essential for Dali, especially after he was mugged in a neighborhood a couple of months ago. People are looking out for me more than I am for myself, and that's a true community. He stated, I knew true community as a child, and having a sense of community will enable the feeling of wanting to own a property in that community or possibly open up a business one day. The article ended on this note stating that living in a storefront has taught Mr. Dali resourcefulness in ways he's never known before. He stated, and I quote, I really can't be too picky about what comes my way. I just have to make the best of it, and that's the greatest skill I could ask for. He added, it's nothing I could teach myself. It's something you could only learn from life. That's really in line with the life philosophy that he has. And at the end of the day, it's like I was listening to this one podcaster named Timothy Ward, great guy. Check his podcast out. I'm not going to get any money from it, but he had a short on his channel, and it was talking about how somebody made a video about one of his videos, because that's what people love to do online, especially YouTube. And they basically called him a middle-aged child because he did not want to live a lifestyle that everybody else deems to be necessary. And I'm like, look, newsflash, not everybody wants to be a homeowner. And this is a real estate channel, but not everybody's meant to be a homeowner. But that makes landlords like me very happy, because then you're going to be my tenant. And not everybody wants to get married and have kids. It's not the end of the freaking world. My mindset is you're supposed to be living life, especially when you're a hard worker, you have a job, you have a business. You're supposed to be able to live in a free society, life on your own terms, as long as you're not hurting anybody and breaking any laws. And the one statement that a former coworker of mine stated to me, we don't evolve past high school. And in a lot of instances, he was absolutely right. Because unfortunately, everything is so, even as an adult, people think that in high school, everything is cliquish. The jocks hang out with the jocks. The cheerleaders hang out with the cheerleaders, the punk rockers hang out with the punk rockers, the street dudes hang with the street dudes, and that's just the way people carry on that same tradition when they become adults. You have to work in the same industry I work in, sorority, fraternity. You have to have been in law enforcement, the military. I guess because of the way I was brought up, if you're a decent person, I don't mind rocking with you. I don't mind engaging with you, but and even as an adult now, if you're not married and kids, we don't want to rock with you. There's something wrong with you, and everything is just constant. You have to fit into this box. And my mindset is, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not breaking any laws, then screw the box. Enjoy your life. You got one life. You better start living it, because life is too freaking short. And shout out to Samson Dali. That's what I'm talking about this article, because I've talked about articles like this before. The one gentleman living in London, I think he was living in a box, a trash can and whatnot. But at the end of the day, these people live in life on their own terms. So I can't knock what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you got to live life on your own terms. I leave it at that. Don't forget, Patterson Properties, we wholesale real estate in the DMV area, Pennsylvania area, specifically Reading and Harrisburg, and Allentown, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All right, so give us a shout out. Links in the website in the description. Go from there. If you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, check out WEBULL, Stash, Crypto.com, Coinbase. Also be a part when you sign up with those moves, and you get some referral money. Also, we're part of the GS Partners, where you not only have the opportunity to invest in crypto and non-fungible tokens known as NFTs, but you have the opportunity to for others to do the same thing and make money moves on that aspect. So remember, you can't get fired if you own the company. It's 2023. It's time for you to own something, own some real estate, own a company, own everything as much as possible as you can, because you only have one life to live, all right, family? So keep doing what you're doing and go from there, all right? So on that note, do the great three things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. And as I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live like a fool. Take care.